Why?
Because it's to cut filters.
In the couch?
It shouldn't be in the couch.
It shouldn't be in the couch.
No, it shouldn't be in the couch. Hello. Oh, there's 5 people. Okay, I'm gonna let it build a little bit. So I decided to watch the debates tonight, and I'm glad I waited till this one, to be fair, because I feel like, first of all, the moderator, let's talk about her. What was her name? What was the moderator's name?
I don't know. We started so heat.
All I know is she was a woman of color. She was brown, and she made sure these motherfuckers took the time allotted. Not the time they wanted, the time allotted. And everybody got a chance to speak to each other. We could hear people speak and finish sentences.
Kristen Welker.
Kristen.
Welker.
Or Walker? Welker. Shout out to you, Kristen. You were boss.
Wait, yes.
You were boss. I can't wait till you're president instead.
She did do a much better job.
I will say this. After watching this debate, Joe is an interesting one. He admitted to mistakes, which is something obviously the other one isn't capable of. That are mistakes that I think obviously were pretty major mistakes. When you play with people's lives, pretty major mistakes. And I think one of the biggest issues in this country is that, like, we don't reconcile things. We just pretend they didn't happen. We don't acknowledge them. We just are like, oh, that never happened. I never did that. I never said that. Pull up the video of me saying that. Give me the proof. Pull it up. Show me. But I feel like Joe owned up to some serious stuff. And I also feel like he had ideas. He had ideas that weren't just you know when you're arguing with someone who's a dickhead, and instead of them acknowledging what they did to you, they're like, yeah, but like you do the same thing. Yeah, but like you remember that one time that you did the same exact thing? Or they just, you know, they try to like reflect instead of take accountability in the moment that you're bringing it up. Because if they were mad about it then, why the fuck didn't they bring it up then, right? You feel me?
Okay.
I'm talking in front of Alexa. Alexa voted today.
Do it.
Early voting.
I did, and
I'm gonna do it very soon. I'm going in person. I don't even trust these mail-in ballots, bro. I'm not even gonna front. I don't even trust it. I don't care. Alexa received hers.
Yeah, when I
Tell them about it. Tell them about it.
Envelope. I mean, we do live in Miami, and it could have been the humidity that sealed it. The envelope to put my ballot inside was sealed. I'm just giving. I like to think that this is a full-blown. How do you say? I don't want to say conspiracy. Full-blown.
It's a full-blown conspiracy.
It's a full-blown plot twist. But I just, it's fine.
The voter suppression in Florida is out of control.
Does it look like
these Republicans are scared of having their shit snatched? They're scared. And you know what? Listen, I have a Democrat thing on my... I'm registered as a Democrat
vote in the primary.
So that I can vote in primaries because we have that weird ass rule.
Where you can vote. That's one of the things that. Sorry, this is also happening.
It's an embodiment of how I feel about Trump.
My favorite part of the debate was when Trump was like, "Why didn't you get anything done, Joe, when you were the vice president?" Right? That's everybody's thing. And then he was like, "Republican Congress."
Republican Congress. Remember how government works, everybody? Did y'all know that there are 3 branches of government that are supposed to keep each other in checks and balance? Did you guys have that lesson in government class in U.S. history? Every single year we did U.S. history instead of world history? Do you remember that? Do you remember how if the Congress is all Republican, the president can get vetoed left and right and right and left? And if you have a conservative majority in the Supreme Court and a lot of centrists, you feel me? Like, what are you really thinking is gonna get done under a black president when we're a racist ass country and everybody everybody that's voting for Trump and agrees with Trump literally is racist.
Okay, but on another note, do your research. Just do your research about the amendments that you're voting on, because it just takes a little bit of time. Like, I honestly sat down today for like an hour. I just read everything. I watched little interviews of all these people, and you're just gonna feel better if you go into it and like even if you use these cheat sheets, like I didn't necessarily agree. I don't go down the party line. You shouldn't go down a party line. Research everything for yourself. Look it up. It's not that hard. There's a bunch of websites where you can look it up and compare things and make decisions for yourself. It also feels good because it's a very great privilege that we can vote. I'm out of here.
I love you.
Love you.
Are you watching presidential debates with your friends? And then talking about it consciously afterwards? Let me know. If you're not, welcome. I love you.
I love you so much.
Be safe. Text me when you get home.
Yeah, I'll let you know about sleep.
Bye, baby. Let's go. Hi, Mammy.
Have an amazing time tomorrow.
Thank you. Hello. So anyways, I fucked with a lot of the stuff Joe was saying. I do. And obviously, again, not the end all be all of how we're going to at all. But, what? I'm talking to people. Where you went? What? You want me off my phone? Yeah? Ay! Look, what's she doing? You want my attention? You see what I have to deal with? She does not fuck with my phone. She constantly, whenever I'm on my phone, instead of paying attention to her, she's like quite upset with me. See, now I'm like rubbing her belly and she feels a lot better. Y'all, I don't know how you feel. I don't know how you're feeling. I don't know if all of you are even from here or care about what's going on in the U.S. because we're kind of a joke at this point, to be fair. But like, this shit is serious. If you guys want to talk about it, let's. You know what? I'm gonna take some requests. Don't request me if we're not gonna talk about what's going on. Okay? Because I'm not trying to be like, you know what I mean? I want to talk. See requests. Let's see the requests. Ooh. Water bottles everywhere. Just finished the details.
Hello?
Hey. Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
What's your name?
Sierra.
Sierra. Where are you?
Yeah. I'm in Missouri.
You're in Missouri. And how are you feeling right now?
I agreed a lot with what you said actually about Joe making some points tonight.
Right? Like they gave him time and nobody interrupting him and he actually said some shit.
Exactly. And Trump didn't know what to do. He just kept blaming things and saying, well, you did this when you were here.
Why didn't
and it didn't make any sense.
Why didn't you do this? Stuff that he doesn't do, by the way. Like all of the
Exactly.
stuff that he's telling him, like, why didn't you do this? He also doesn't do it.
I know. I was sitting here with my roommates because I'm in college right now, so we live I'm in Springfield, Missouri. I go to Missouri State University. I'm a social work major, so I'm very passionate about things.
Yes, I love this energy.
Yeah, it's and the debate it was hard to watch, but better than the last one.
I'm glad, like I said in the beginning, like I'm glad I didn't even watch the first one because I saw what a mess that was afterwards and I knew it was gonna be a mess. You feel me? Like I knew it was gonna be a mess. And I'm so glad that they changed the moderator. She was amazing, Kristen.
Oh, she did so good.
I loved her. She was like, excuse me, you got 2 minutes, make it happen.
Yeah.
You're
And
like,
then
you better make it up.
yeah. She was great for sure. She made some points.
Mm-hmm. But wow. I feel like, what was your greatest takeaway? Like, what was something that like you felt like, okay, when you heard someone say something, you were like impacted by that?
Healthcare.
Yeah, I would say, sorry, this is my girlfriend.
Hey, what's your name?
Riley.
Hey, Riley.
Yeah.
Definitely when Joe Biden did the he thinks healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. All of us in our living room, we said,
Yes.
Period. When he said period, when he was like,
yeah,
everyone should have access to healthcare, period.
Exactly.
It should not only be privatized, it should be optional for everyone to have it. And if they don't have it, they get automatically enrolled so they don't have to think about it. So people aren't fucking dying.
Yes, we love to hear that.
Exactly.
Because they don't have a job or because whatever the fuck happened. Hello, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
I know.
Is this real?
And I really liked when Joe Biden talked about the not criminalizing people for drugs and more rehabilitation.
Rehabilitating people.
Rehabilitation. Yep.
And also, let's get to the root cause of why our society is so drugged the fuck out, right? Like,
exactly.
What is the root cause? What's the root cause? Why are we talking about the root issues?
And towards the end, Joe even said the end systematic racism, and I said, oh, he said systematic.
He said systematic. The man knows the word systematic.
Exactly.
We're moving somewhere. Truly.
Yeah.
Potentially.
It's baby steps.
That's not to say, and listen, we know these politicians. Like, let's be real, right? We know these politicians, but the one thing that I could feel in Joe, and like I go by feeling more than I go by, because I can read through a politician's malarkey in 2.5 seconds.
Yeah.
But I could feel that Joe was like, dude, I'm willing to try, at least. You know what I mean? Like, at least I'm not lying. Like, I mean, he is lying about some things, you know. I think that there's a lot of shame also coupled with a lot of the stuff he's done. And I think in America, we like to shame people and keep them in their shame instead of allowing them to kind of like grow out of that and be able to own their mistakes and move past them and be better and show up better, which I think is like a huge core issue across the board in so many of the different issues that we have going on here, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, oh, we gotta just, it's so clear, it's so obvious which person had a plan and which person was deflecting blame from themselves to feed their own narrative, which was filled with lies, like lie after lie, after blame after lie, after numbers made up, after numbers completely thrown out of nowhere. And like, that's not to say that Trump didn't say a couple things, and this is going to be controversial, but there were a couple things in the beginning of the debate that Trump said that I was like, okay, you're making sense. I can see how this mentality is making sense to you and making sense to people, right?
Yeah, with all that COVID stuff.
There was a point then after that, you know, beautiful beginning where it just fell to nonsense, you know? And when so much shit is coming out of your mouth, it's hard to believe anything because you're a liar, you know? So when you're deflecting something that you're not doing onto what someone else is not doing, like, who has the power right now though? Like, who has the power right now? Like, who has all this power? You know, that's not to say that good and bad things haven't happened. A lot of bad things have happened and some good things have happened. And I think that a lot of the reasons people don't all the way disagree with Trump, like the supporters of his, like the little Trump Nazis, like I really feel like they agree with the points that have to do with economic, like economy, things that have to do with money. Making more money, having more money for the rich, by the way, because he speaks very specifically to the rich. He's never speaking to the poor. He never even addresses poor people.
Yeah, no, there was a point I yelled at my TV.
The lowest he'll go class-wise talking about someone is like the mid earners, which I guess is like middle class, maybe it's upper middle class for him. I don't really know.
Yeah,
It's
I
definitely,
think that was a problem too with Joe when they address middle class. They don't understand middle class. It's lower middle class, upper middle class, middle class. There's three levels to it, and there is
and
a
then there's
point where
poverty.
yeah,
And then there's real
and
life
lower
poverty
middle
that a
class is
lot of
considered
American
under
citizens are
the
living.
poverty. Yeah.
The what?
There was a there was like lower middle class is like considered under the poverty line. So they're all oh god. What? It's
Don't
loading.
die, don't die, don't die. Hey, I plugged it
Don't
in
die.
time. Okay, sorry. Continue
Okay.
what you were saying. I'm so sorry. You were saying something brilliant.
No, it's okay. I was just saying that like the lower middle class, people still consider that middle class, but the lower middle class is still either like on that poverty line or below that poverty line. And it's a problem because that creates the bigger gap between the wealthy and the poor. And people assume middle class means they're, comfortable, well off, but that's not the case. A lot of them are towards the lower middle class.
And struggling.
And struggling
And
hard.
struggling to make ends meet, and every check matters.
Yes, exactly.
That was how I grew up. I grew up in that same economic condition of it. Like, I was surrounded by a lot of like richer people, but I was definitely like lower middle class. Like, my parents worked to make ends meet. Both of them really worked to make ends meet.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
no,
and I'm
definitely.
grateful because I have a family that helped each other out. My grandparents would help us out. We had a situation where we had people around us and we loved each other, so we were able to get through this, which I think is also a lot of immigrant stories, is like us surviving together and helping each other through the transition of having to come to a brand new country. And that's something else that I have a huge problem with Trump about, is like the way he speaks about immigrants. First of all, as if his parents were not immigrants. First of all, as if his wife is not an immigrant. First of all, the mother of his children is not an immigrant. Second of all, first of all, that's like on his own personal level. Besides that, as if immigrants do not make up the majority of the working class and are the people who provide us with most of our food services, most of our sanitary services, most of our like there's so many different ways that immigrants show up. And not only that, they also show up in higher level positions all over the place. They have like, I know my family worked to make sure my situation was better so that I could work to get to a place where my situation's better. And y pa'lante, you know what I mean? Depending on where you're from, depending on who your parents are, why you came here. But it's so disheartening. Just like, nobody acknowledges like most of these immigrants are here because of wars that we've started.
Exactly. And we don't talk about that at all. We ignore it.
We never talk about like the core issues. You feel me? Like, there's just this, and I feel like Joe also lacks that sometimes too, of like, they're both still, I mean, not they're both still, they're both very different people, but I feel like Joe is still a white man with privilege. You feel me? So a lot of his perspective is still from that energy, but I also feel like Joe is open to other perspectives. He's open to listening to scientists. He's open to listening to people whose areas of expertise this is, versus Trump, who's just like, I know more about wind than you do. Like, it kills the birds. The fumes that come up. I'm like, it's a windmill. There are no fumes, baby. Like, it's a wind.
Yeah, it's literally the wind, and
it's the wind, and like, it's just like green energy is obvious. Like, even just as someone from a business standpoint, from like an economic standpoint, right? Like, we are destroying the planet. We are destroying our water supply. We are ignoring the indigenous peoples who have been at the Dakota Access Pipeline and the like all of these. This has been happening. They're there. They've been fighting this fight. They've been being murdered, being harmed. They've been being abused. They've been being gaslit as if these aren't their lands, as if they don't understand what this oil is going to do to this land. Because we forget, like, we can depend on ourselves right now, but if we extract all of our resource and just with no give and take, you know what I'm saying, with the entirety of it being about like, what can we take and what can we have and what can we profit off of? It's just like, how do we expect to survive? Like, how do we, that economy, that imaginary market with all these imaginary numbers that make rich people richer, like, what value does that have to a person who is dying of cancer because they live too close to an oil mine?
Yeah. And Trump tried to say that, we have the cleanest water, cleanest everything. And we still have the people in Flint, Michigan, whose water still looks like...
It's like, how can you say that? That's blasphemous.
And he just chooses to ignore that and then starts like pulling stuff out of his ass, I swear. And he
straight up.
doesn't...
And I'm like literally, and this is another thing I liked about Joe in this debate, was that every time Trump would speak, Joe's face would just say everything about like stuff. He'd just be like like, my dude, like, where are you pulling this from? Like, where do you get, who gives you these fake facts? Like, they're so intricate, they're so like falsely specific. It's so
crazy.
Like,
he's just making up these numbers.
I understand why people get easily manipulated by that. You feel me? It sounds great to blame someone else, to be like, oh, well, this person never did anything, so we should just settle for fascism. Like,
and Trump just kept trying to point out that, socialists, all this is so bad, and then started talking about Bernie Sanders. And Joe was just like, well, I'm not Bernie, but I like started talking about some stuff that Bernie would say, like minimum wage and all this stuff. And socialism,
it's funny how we call it socialism when we're trying to help out the people who actually need help.
Exactly.
But it's called bailouts when we're helping out the realty market that's crashing because it's inflated, because people make money off of housing instead of housing being a human right. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And it's like the stock market people and the major Fortune 500 company owners, like, they get massive billion-dollar bailouts from our tax dollars. Okay, our tax dollars is being used to do that, but our tax dollars can't be used to help people who lost their job during this pandemic. Our tax dollars can't be used to pay kids who can't afford their school lunches, and like, our tax dollars can't be used to help these teachers out. My mom is a teacher. She's been working literally 24/7 to make sure that her kids are taken care of. You feel me? Like, and that's because she goes above and beyond, and because she loves her job and she loves what she does, and she takes what she does seriously. But there are people out here who don't take their jobs seriously. And there are kids out here who are really suffering because of all of the wish-wash leadership that, and all of the divestment from education. You feel me? A divestment from us knowing what's going on, because then we're easier to manipulate, right? If we're not educated.
We are, for sure. I like that Joe pointed out too that Trump tried talking about, with COVID and school shutdowns, like, kids need to go to school, which they do, but it needs to be safe. And then Joe pointed out you need funding to make these schools able to be in person without harming the students, without harming the teachers, the workers, the janitors, like, everyone. And Trump actually cut funding from education rather than gave it more funding during...
I mean, Betsy DeVos is your head of education.
Exactly.
Anyone who doesn't know who Betsy DeVos is, look her up and look up what she does and what she likes and what she agrees with and what she doesn't agree with.
Yeah.
Like, look up her own words, like what she says herself. I don't want you to take my word for it, her word for it. I want you to go see what this woman is about. And you tell me if you think that that's who if you were a leader, you would put at the head of education. Let me know.
Yeah.
I also think it was ridiculous how he was like, oh yeah, we'll have a vaccine in 2 weeks.
And
then at the end, the man had to like reiterate and be like, no, like that's not the case.
That's not a true statement.
There's
just
no
have to
way.
fact correct now. You guys can do it later. Obviously, this man is like the thing is, he's a compulsive liar because he's an egomaniac. But it's because he's an egomaniac. He loves, like, I mean, I think that he's very insecure, like very insecure. Honestly, and because he's so insecure and he never really felt love in his life ever, like, I don't think anyone ever, like, has genuinely loved that man in his life. Like, I think he's been used by a lot of people, maybe. And when he was younger, I think he might have been abused emotionally, like, kind of starved of love. And so he's just, like, obsessed with how people view him, and obsessed with maintaining his reputation and maintaining like this very false character that I know that he knows he isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
I know that he knows when he's lying. It's, you can see it in his eyes. Like, he knows when he's manipulating people. He knows when he's using rhetoric that he learned. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? It's not even
like,
like it's hidden.
Not like,
and that's why it's so difficult for me when some people like act like they can't see it or agree with it, which is the scarier one, when they resonate with it. Because I'm like, yo, like, can you really not see this for what it is? Are you really that disconnected from yourself? Like, is that really
that? Live in
Yeah.
Missouri, we live that.
Missouri is definitely.
Oh my
I can imagine, dude.
Yeah.
God.
Especially the town. Like, we're not from the town we go to school in. But
Where y'all from?
yeah, I'm scared
should
to
we
like
talk shit?
like I don't want to talk shit about where I am, but it's definitely a Bible Belt area. Except around.
But
like,
let's go into that though. Let's go into Bible Belt though. Let's go into the Bible.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell me how Jesus talked about immigrants, how Jesus talked about these kinds of things. If we're talking about Jesus, what was the golden rule? Do unto others as you want done to yourself, correct?
Exactly.
So how is it that with that kind of mentality guiding you, supposedly, right? Supposedly you're a Christian, correct? Not you, but I'm talking you understood in a Bible Belt. If you're a Christian, why aren't you following the Gospels? Why aren't you aligning yourself with Christ-like behavior? Why are you judging people before you know them? Why do you believe you have some sort of superiority complex when you know that God said that only they can judge?
Right, thou shalt not judge.
Yep. She went to Catholic school her whole life.
Oh,
Me too. Me too, baby. I feel you.
no, and it's just so rough because then like you think of all the things, but then like at the end of the day, people who like have hatred in their heart will like do whatever they can to like make it right or like make it sound right. And it's unfortunate that they use the Bible or like scripture to do that because I don't know.
Hypocritical.
Fucked up.
It's hypocritical.
It is. It's
It is
really
hypocritical, and God does not condone.
no, exactly.
At all. Like, God does not condone. Like, if you look at the, let's talk about the 10 Commandments, right? What's number 8? What's number 8?
Bitch, I don't know.
Okay, well, I remember it's thou shalt not bear false witness. Y'all know what that means?
Wait, what'd you say?
Number 8 of
Okay.
the 10 Commandments. There's 10 Commandments, right? Number 8 of the 10 Commandments. It is thou shalt not bear false witness. And what does that mean? That means to lie. Thou shalt not lie.
Big
so
bad.
If you're Christian, how are you siding with somebody who's a liar?
Ooh.
Thou shalt not steal is another one. Number 5.
Thou shalt
How
not
can
commit
you
adultery.
side with someone who is a con artist?
Yeah, adultery.
Yeah.
We been knew Trump
who has
is not
committed
loyal.
adultery? Who has?
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Yep.
It's rough.
And
It
like
is
a porn
rough.
star. And granted, I'm not hating him for having sex with a porn star.
Right, but
You
like
do you, sir, but do not claim Christianity.
correct.
Do not claim this holier than thou stature of judgment.
Right. And
For anyone else.
even the Roman Catholic Pope is just like, I don't fuck with this dude, basically. Like, he's like, I don't know why y'all are backing him up with Christianity and Catholicism because that's not what this is. And, like, especially with all the Supreme Court stuff going on right now with, like, same-sex marriage and, like, wanting to turn that around with, like, the new nomination and all that shit. Like, the Pope was like, no, like, I don't believe in same-sex marriage, but I believe in, like, civil laws and, like, loving people for the way they are and, like, union laws and all that shit. So it's like, how can, like, the literal Pope, like, agree with these things, but he can't, and, like, the conservative side can't, but they claim to be Christians?
It's because it comes from a place of bigotry. It doesn't come from
insecurity,
like
bigotry.
They use all these euphemisms for their hatred.
Right.
And at the end of the day, their projected hatred is self-hatred.
I know. It's just sad.
It is.
Because if you love yourself, you don't give a fuck about what's going on with other people.
Exactly.
You don't care about who's sleeping with who. Why
Exactly.
are you so in the pocket?
Why is it anyone's business?
None of your business.
Exactly.
It's none of your
Ain't
business.
none your
It
business.
really isn't.
None of your business. Exactly.
Yeah. I was actually
Sincerely.
disappointed they didn't talk about that in the debate
I
tonight.
know. I wanted them
they
to
like
mention that.
well, they brought up his new Supreme Court
But they didn't.
nominee or whatever, and then they talked about the Affordable Care Act rather than the same-sex marriage that they're trying to literally sneak through the Supreme Court and overturn.
Literally sneak. Like actually sneak.
Like actually sneak.
Yeah, and it's scary.
Like people just ignore it. They just ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
But like thousands of people's livelihood is at stake with that.
Yeah.
Including ours.
Including ours.
All of ours. Dumb shit. Ugh.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I think it's just, it's like a choice between progress.
Yeah.
Or at least the potential of progress.
Yeah. Potential for sure.
And like, I don't know, I can't even relate. So I it's hard for me to even like understand how anyone at this point, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Especially like women.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the whole women for Trump thing, I just don't get it.
For me, the Latinos for Trump thing makes me cringe.
The gays for Trump.
I'm like, Latinos for Trump? Like,
yeah. Who is this? Who makes up this population?
Yo, a lot of Cubans, let me tell you. A lot of American Cubans, white Cubans. It's really upsetting to me. Truly upsetting, because they're like, fuck el comunismo. And I'm like, yeah, but like fascism is like el comunismo. Like everything is, the only example of communism we've seen is dictatorship communism.
Yes.
Communism, quote unquote, where like these people take everything from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's not communism. Like that's even
corruption.
a theoretical version of communism. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So to think that progress towards a society that has, I don't know, centers scientific thought and centers like growth and reconciliation and the potential to progress on a interpersonal level.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the resistance to that and the excuse that it's because you don't want the same thing to happen that happened in Cuba. Like that is absurd to me, because the same thing is happening. You know what I'm saying? It's like the rich here possess all of the wealth, and the poor keep getting poorer, and the middle class is disappearing, and the bank owns the most land. Like there are empty buildings right now with nobody in them. Mamas and babies on the street, grown people on the street, elders on the street, because they literally can't afford their rent anymore because like it's just, that's happening, and it's going to keep happening, especially if we want to look at things as a successful business, because that's what he kept repeating tonight.
Oh my god.
Like
he kept referring to America as a business, and I was genuinely getting annoyed.
And it is.
Yeah,
let me not even front. America, 1000%. We are an oligarchy. We are run by corporations.
It is.
For sure.
We're not a democracy. But the point being that if he's talking about business the way he does business, the way the tycoons he fucks with do business, that business depends on the exploitation of the working force. It depends on them not having a livable wage. It depends on them continuing to increase profit.
Exactly.
At whatever cost to the earth, at whatever cost to humanity, at whatever cost to American citizens, at whatever cost to anybody. You feel me? Like they don't care as long as their pockets are getting fat.
Exactly.
It's
everything's a corporation,
and that's why the gap just keeps getting bigger between
and it's
the rich and the poor.
Keep getting bigger, and it's going to keep getting bigger.
Yeah,
and it's just going to keep getting bigger. And the thing is that this is history repeating itself.
It is
literally
over and over again. It's the same shit. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. So it's like, again, I don't think that these politics, this system is going to change. I think that it's functioning exactly as it was created. Watching these debates for me is kind of like, I mean, like for everyone, it's like an entertainment of sorts, because we're really just watching people go back and forth about things that aren't inclusive of every single American citizen or every single American citizen resident, everyone who's living in America, whether they're considered a citizen or not. And all of them which are contributing to taxes. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's what I was thinking so much whenever Trump kept trying to talk about immigrants or this and that. When
coyotes. Wait, hold on. Can we talk about? I also really want to touch upon the way that he was talking about his zero tolerance policy as if it wasn't incredibly heinous and disgusting.
Yeah.
Trying to deflect the fact that the people who and they say 500, that is bullshit. There are many more children than 500 children missing their parents now.
Yeah.
There are many more children than 500 children who are just lost and have nowhere to go, like Joe said. They have nowhere to be. They have nowhere to go. Why?
Exactly.
Why? Why do we do that to infants? Why did we do that to 2-year-olds? Why are there children, babies in court by themselves with no motherfucking lawyer, having their status decided upon, and their parents are somewhere that they don't even know? And now we can't find them. And him saying, oh, we're taking good care of them and we're working really hard to find them. No, you're not.
Yeah. And then it just kept trying to blame Joe for it.
Because ICE is a literal domestic terrorist group. Like, ICE legitimately terrorizes citizens and residents alike. Okay? If they assume that you are something, they go off with it. Okay?
Exactly.
Yep.
They are legitimately, it's legitimate modern day concentration camps. Like,
yes,
there's no other way to put it.
Exactly.
There's no other way to put it. And that is what he's doing to Latinos. That's what he's doing to Muslims and Arabs who are coming from different places all over the Middle East, because and Swana, because we have literally been bombing and hunting people. Like, it's just it's absurd to me that we don't draw all of these different points together when we're talking about this, because that's the intersectionality of all of this shit is so real.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also so interesting to like obviously I didn't know all of these like specific details when I was in high school or when I was younger, but as I got older and I started, taking more classes in college and like sociology, psychology, and like there's a reason they say like people who are educated typically lean more towards the left, because it's all backed up like by science. Like we have all of this research,
by
all of this, exactly,
facts and research.
and I've learned so much,
and not just
from
the facts
my courses.
we want to be true, the facts that are true.
Exactly. Like there's stuff in my textbooks where I'll like take a picture and be like, and like put it on Facebook and be like, oh, like this is literally in my textbook, but go ahead and argue like what you want, even though I'm literally learning, like this is in my text, I'm taking a test over this, but you're just like, nah, it's not true. But like
that's honestly, that's one of my things about the reason why I've stopped so much debating with people on that side is because, first of all, I really believe it's kind of like it's different programming. I have this very strong theory that, this is the reality. Everyone in America is living in their own version of reality. Whatever the fuck they've decided is true, that's what they're going with.
Yeah.
Whether it's backed up by academic fact, whether it's backed up by their, like, a blogger in the middle of nowhere on Reddit. Like, they don't care. They take that as truth.
Exactly.
And people aren't deciphering what their truth is. People aren't critically analyzing anything that they're given. They take things at face value and they take things literally, instead of reading into what's being said and what's truly being said behind things being lied about. You know what I'm saying? And what these lies mean. And that's the interesting thing is that the American school system does not teach us to think critically. It teaches us to think competitively. It teaches us to think in such a way that we have to be better than our peers in order to succeed. And that innate need for competition puts us into a fear and scarcity mentality that doesn't allow us to operate at a higher frequency of thought. And because of that, a lot of people reject real truth. They reject actual truth because they're more concerned with their truth and their agenda and what they need to be true to validate their experiences, to validate their upbringing, validate what they've always known to be true, what their parents told them was true. You feel me?
Yeah, no, exactly.
And
you
what
have
their
to, it's all about socialization. Socialization is such, there was an attunement you did. I think it was like one of the second ones you did, and you talked about the inner child and like self actualization. And I spent a whole semester learning about self actualization and how it's literally this pyramid scheme. And you truly never reach self actualization because it's what you strive for. It's your goal is to like get to that point. So you truly never reach it in your lifetime because you're constantly trying to build yourself up to that.
And that's what you should. You should be constantly wanting to grow and change and adapt.
Exactly.
And it's like not just for yourself, but for others, for the other people around you.
Exactly.
That's important.
Like
not
continuing
just you,
to educate
and
yourself,
also,
to better yourself.
I also feel like in that thought, we need to make space for people to be wrong and come over to the truth.
Exactly.
Because a lot of the time when people don't know better, I think there's a difference between people who don't know better and people who choose to not know better, right?
Exactly. Like we grew up in Missouri, so we
didn't know
socialized a specific way. We got older, we realized what we were learning is
that's not right. We don't stand for that.
And we straight away we couldn't get out of Missouri because college is very expensive for stupid reasons. But so we're still in Missouri.
Get into it.
But I mean, we've
become
our own people.
Because they're businesses.
Yeah.
Colleges are businesses.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it sucks because like the stuff, like she's a nursing major, I'm a social work major. The stuff that we're passionate that we want to do requires us to get this degree. And like it's so time consuming. It's so stressful with everything around like money and like living situations. And it's a big ordeal, but we do it because that's what we want to make a change. We want to see that in the world, and we know we individually can't make that change, but we can make steps towards it and hopefully provide like a platform for others. I mean, not a platform, but like a stepping stone and like help get there.
Yes, 100%. I think that our generation and like younger than us especially, I think even though some people are really disconnected from humanity to an extent, like the ones who have phones and who grew up with that when they were younger, I also feel like we're so interconnected now that there's an awakening of empathy in the young American youth. And there's obviously some people who still are on that low vibrational fuck shit of like, let's clown each other for clout and let's be, how can we tear this person down?
Exactly.
And that's where I go back to making space for people to evolve and making space for people to have been wrong and now know better.
Oh,
and allow them to
that's so important.
And hopefully we'll see that.
Instead of holding them accountable for the rest of their lives for
they
made when they didn't know better.
Exactly.
Right.
We were
I think that's so important.
Disgustingly in this country. This country teaches you to be racist, to be homophobic, to be sexist, to be... Because that's what makes them money.
Exactly.
All that stuff makes them money. The more
and that's
money,
all our country wants.
The more you hate each other, the more money you're going to make them.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
Preach. Period.
Yeah. So I majorly commend you both for wanting to, for starting your journeys on finding how you're going to contribute to the world.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
That's really beautiful. This was a great fucking conversation, and I love you.
Yeah, you just made my life, so I love you too.
But it was nice meeting you.
Could we take a little screenshot?
Guys. Hold on, wait. Yeah, let's take a screenshot.
A little screenshot for this great talk.
Yeah, take a screenshot, of course.
Beautiful. Ugh. Thank you so much.
You got it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, I'm a roommate and I love you.
I think she froze.
Wait, I didn't hear what your roommate said. My shit paused up.
Come back, Emily. Come back.
Oh, I said I love you. You're perfect. Intentions, you know.
Expectations.
Yes, girl. Yes, intention.
She's a fake fan. She's a fake
we're
fan.
introducing her.
Expectations. We got this. It's fine. Intentions are good too.
Yeah,
I'll make a song called
That's
Intentions.
true.
You were right in another
Same
paragraph.
difference.
Yeah, and we got that 50 feet. We got that lento.
Let's go. Y'all will have
We
work too, I
try
promise.
to
I think
immerse our
so.
roommates in the culture.
The culture.
Yeah.
Go bless Emily with some culture, okay?
Oh, definitely. She did say your name.
Emily, you're fine. It's okay. I know that this is nerve-wracking as a whole.
Yeah.
Yes. Taylor said, "What about me?"
Oh, Taylor, come on over.
Come on
All
over,
right.
Taylor.
Taylor, she said, come here.
We're having a party.
She said she's camera shy.
Bitch, get over here and say hi.
Get over here and say hi. Lauren said so.
Lauren
Just kind of you have a bra on.
Here's Taylor.
Hi, Taylor. Hey. Thank you for saying hi.
She said thank you.
Wait, should I get shot real quick?
Okay. Do you remember your tweet? Sorry, I'm getting off topic now. About how you really like cats. We have a cat. You want to see?
Absolutely.
Here he is.
This is our little boy chef.
Chef, say hi, Lauren. Jauregui.
What's his name?
Say hi.
Chef.
Chef?
Yeah.
Little chef.
Little chef.
He's a year old.
Oh, he's so cute.
Thanks.
Are y'all allowed to have cats in your dorms?
We actually rent a house.
But we have
we're like
Bomb.
22, 21, 23.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. You're at like I'm out of dorm mode.
Yeah,
Stage.
we're almost done. No, don't show her that. Don't show her
Please.
that. No.
Look.
No, what? Stop.
Why?
Embarrass her. No, embarrass her.
I painted
She
that.
painted this.
Yes! I love that.
It was just
that.
a
No,
little
that makes me
girls'
happy.
wine night, and I thought I'm not artistic, so might as well,
It was
something fun.
Okay.
It was a passion project.
I love it. I love to see it.
We actually have our meet and greet picture with you guys in our room, hanging on our walls. So.
I love it.
And we were like
love
15, and now we're
I can't wait
21.
We were so
until
fucking
we
small, and
revisit.
we're still sitting here doing this.
Yep. That was what, 6 years ago?
6 years, man.
But anyways.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
And we still here.
And we've been here.
And you still here.
We're still here.
Yes, ma'am.
Angels.
God damn.
I love you guys.
We love you.
We love you.
Have
Thank
a
you
good
for
night,
accepting this.
Bye.
Bye.
That was a great combo. That was a super great combo. Let's go. I love educated humans discussing, discutiendo. All right, I'm gonna go to sleep because I have shit to do tomorrow. But I love you guys, and I'm gonna save this live because it was really informative and lots of things were discussed. And maybe I'll do this again sometime.